welcome to this short video in which I show you how to create your own DDD submissions running man graph, which is simply a graph that compares the submission rates and data quality across selected entities, whether it be districts or circuits. In order to do this, you'll need to have the system report role and data extract role assigned to your account so that you can download the right reports for the graph. And that report, we only need one report, and that's the schools loaded report. So I'll be using the Northwest. You can use any entity that you want, whether it's a province, a district, or even a circuit. And we click on the reports tab and scroll down to the system report role, or the system graphs. And we scroll down to the schools loaded report, and you select that report. Once the report is downloaded, you'll land on this sort of screen, and it will give you quite a lot of information on the progress of submissions in your selected term. In this case, we're dealing with term 2 2017. And to build the running man graph, we want to compare for a selected entity the submission rates and data quality of those submissions. So the information we need is the current term submissions to date, so in this column K. So I'm just going to highlight that so that we can see that. And we need the average data quality of the current term, which is that column there. And we need the percentage of submissions, and you'll notice that that's missing, so we have to calculate it. So what I like to do is insert a new column, just like that, and we'll call it the percentage of schools loaded. And the way we calculate the percentage is simply the submissions to date divided by the total school count. So what we do here is we say this is equal to this value divided by that value. And you'll notice that it comes up as a 1, and so we need to change it to a percentage value. So if I press % there, that gives us 93%. And then you can either drag this down or simply double left click the small block in the bottom right, and that'll complete the calculation for all of the lines. So now we have the information we need. We have the current term submissions, we have the percentage of schools loaded or submitted, and the average data quality for those submissions. And we have the names of the entities on the left hand side. So let's say we want to do this just for the regions. So what I like to do is I like to select the data. Let's make sure we have all the data there, and simply copy it. And then I like to use a new clean sheet to work with the data. And remember to paste it as a text so that the formula is not still in the formula bar. So now we have the information we want and a little bit extra. So let's remove the data we don't need. So we need the name of the entities, but we don't need the Northwest total. We only want the 4 regions. So we can go ahead and delete that row. We also don't need any of the information in the blue columns. So we can go ahead and delete those columns as well. So you simply select those columns and just press delete. If you want, you can create a new table and simply copy and paste the data into that table, whatever works for you. We then don't want to have the name there, so we delete that, and we select all of this information, except we don't actually need the current term submissions to date. So we don't need the values, but I'm going to leave them there because I'm going to try and add them to the graph. So the information we need is the names of the districts and these 2 columns, the percentage of schools loaded and the average data quality of each current term. Now that we've selected just the data we want, we can go Insert, and we want a bar graph like that. And so already we have the beginnings of our running man graph in the figure. But what we want to do is we want to compare the districts from the most submissions to the least submissions in terms of percentage. So what I'm going to do here is select this data, select data, and then press filter, and I'm going to filter this information on the percentage of schools loaded from the largest to the smallest. And as you'll see, Bojanala at 94% has the highest rate of submissions, and so you'll see that this blue graph over here representing submissions goes from highest to lowest. If we want, we can select the graph and add data labels, simply like that, and that'll give us the numbers there. If you wanted to go from highest to lowest, going from top to bottom, simply select all the data, press the filter function, and rank the table from smallest to largest, and it'll simply just reverse it. Always remember to select all the column headings, otherwise some of the other information might not filter with it. So here we have our graph. We have the submissions, the percentage of schools loaded in the blue graph, and the average data quality in the red graph. So we could stop now. Having completed it, perhaps you want to rename the heading of the graph. We can call it the Northwest Running Man graph for term 2 2017 as an example. We can change the data so that it only has one decimal place, like that. We can change it in the graph if we want. So if we select all of the data and we go to the graph option, we can change it from general to number or percentage. It is a percentage, and select 0 decimals. The percentage loaded is already formatted in the format we wanted, so we can play around with the formatting as much as we want. But what would be quite cool is to have the number of schools next to the percentage of schools loaded. So what we can do here is we can select the data and format the data labels, and we can say include values from cells. So if we select that, it's going to ask us to select the data label range, meaning this range here. So if we select that range there and press OK, we then see that the number of schools plus the percentage appears in our graph. And that is how you create your running man graph. You can now play around with the formatting. If you want, you can change the colors to whichever colors you want. If you want, you can remove the grid lines by simply selecting them and pressing delete. And you can format your graph however you like, and then select all of it, copy it, and paste it into PowerPoint or into Word, into any format you want to use.